Welcome to the Year Museum of Greek Archaeology. My name is Edward Ross. I'm a PhD candidate at the University of Reading, and today I'll be leading you through a special exhibition designed for the Limina Journal Monsters Conference, which is co-hosted by the Department of Classics at the University of Reading and the University of Western Australia. Our tour today will look at objects on the theme of monsters, from ancient to modern. We're going to look at how ancient Greco-Roman monsters have been translated into contemporary culture, and how ancient monsters have crept their way into our modern society. With objects ranging from ancient pottery to plaster casts of Roman gems to everyday modern objects, we will look at female monsters, sea monsters, heroes, and cyborgs. So, to start off, we're going to look at the evolution of a few female monsters. Now, when we say female monsters, it's not simply saying that the monster is female. Rather, the monstrous feminine horrifies because the construction of her gender is encoded into her monstrosity. Their beauty becomes the horror they inspire. She mystifies, seduces, castrates, and destroys. Our first instance is the Gorgon. These snake-haired creatures had necks protected with dragon scales, boar tusks, bronze hands, and golden wings. Legends say that their gaze could turn anyone to stone. The most famous of the Gorgons was Medusa. She was transformed into a Gorgon by the goddess Athena after Poseidon raped her in Athena's temple. Although she was the victim, Medusa was punished for this sacrilege. We see her most today alongside the Greek hero Perseus, who decapitated Medusa while looking at her through a mirrored shield. The story is presented in books and movies like Clash of the Titans. However, this story is reinterpreted by Luciano Garbati in his sculpture Medusa with the Head of Perseus. Here, Medusa presents a determined self-defense, which became a controversial symbol of female rage at the height of the Me Too movement in 2018, flipping the script on the centuries-old patriarchal story that blames the victim if they are sexually assaulted. Along the same vein, witches were some of the most misunderstood women in the ancient world. Powerful women like Circe from the Odyssey and Medea from Jason and the Argonauts were constantly misunderstood by society. By using the fear they produce in others, they established themselves away from society. We see this again in the musical Wicked, which tells the story of the Wicked Witch of the West from the Wizard of Oz. Elphaba, the Wicked Witch, is rejected by society and fakes her death in order to find a place for herself outside the society she knew. Far beyond society in the reaches of the sea, we find several dangerous femme fatale. Sirens were creatures that caught and held the gaze of men, but their allure was linked to the fact that they quickly turned away and showed little interest. The sirens were bird-like creatures with the heads of women that sang beautiful songs to lead men to their ships to crash and drown. In the film O Brother, Where Art Thou?, the sirens are transformed into beautiful women that lure the protagonists with singing. They then drug them in and turn them into toads. These modern interpretations of sirens actually blend together with the ancient mermaid, a half-woman, half-fish creature that also lured men to their death with song. Mermaids became particularly well known in modern culture with Hans Christian Andersen's The Little Mermaid, a tragic love story between a mermaid of the sea and a human on land. The image of the mermaid has even percolated into everyday life thanks to Starbucks, whose logo is based on a 17th century depiction of a mermaid. Another female monster of the sea does not lure sailors to their death, but rather seeks them out to kill them herself. The sea monster Scylla is depicted in the Odyssey as a woman with 6 dog heads around the lower half of her body. Her terrifying speed and scaly appearance inspired the data management company Scylla DB to take her as their logo, but they decided to use a cartoonish version of the sea monster to represent her. One famous male sea monster was the Greek god Triton. This adakamphora depicts the Greek hero Heracles fighting the snake-like sea god. Although they were not evil, these sea creatures represented the danger of seafaring in the ancient world. Today, gods of the sea are reimagined into heroes and frightening creatures. We can see Aquaman's Funko Pop here. He grew in popularity in the DC universe and had similar powers to Triton, particularly having the creatures of the sea at his disposal. Where there were creatures in the ancient world, however, there were heroes to fight them. Heracles was known as one of the strongest heroes. He fought countless monsters and gods during his lifetime, including the Erythmian boar, giants, and Cerberus, the three-headed guard dog of Hades. Disney's Hercules tells a reimagined story of Heracles' life, but it does depict a wide variety of monsters that myth says he fought in his life, including the Hydra, which we can see here. The Hydra, like many monsters in the ancient world, was made up of pieces of many different animals. Chimera, for example, was a creature with the head and body of a lion, the head of a goat extending from its back, and a tail that ended with the head of a snake. This creature breathed fire and ravaged landscapes, and although they are considered completely imaginary, they have been depicted in anime, TV series, films, and video games as enemies. The griffin was also a hybrid creature that appeared in the ancient world. However, this monster, with the body of a lion and the head and wings of an eagle, does not appear in any known Greek or Roman myths. We do find the griffin appearing in the medieval period, particularly in bestiaries. The books presented images of hybrid animals, showing us how medieval Europeans understood foreign creatures. And that brings us directly to the present day with cyborgs. You would expect that machine-organism hybrids would have no connection to the ancient world. They are commonly interpreted as an extension of human-animal hybrids. These enhanced humans depicted in these gemcasts appear to be warriors that are enhanced by their hybridity. Modern cyborgs, which we can see in media like Metropolis, use their augmentation to fight and achieve their goals. And that brings us to the end of our short exploration of monsters from ancient to modern. Thank you all for listening, and we hope to welcome you to the Museum of Greek Archaeology someday. Thank you.